All right, everybody. We are streaming now on YouTube.
Woo!
Let's just see. All right. Count us in, Michael.
That was easy.
Just like that.
The internet can see us now.
Not a big deal.
You know it's that time of year again, people. It's the time of year to do the Dutch Hall's annual death pool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is the year where we predict the deaths of 45 celebrities. This is the biggest pool ever. We have 9 people here picking 5 people to die in the year 2018. I know it sounds morbid. I know it sounds perhaps a little grim. But I assure you, it's a lot of fun. So just stay tuned a little bit, and we'll get the show started. But all we got to do is one thing, you know, people, before we get this show started. We like to do a thing at Live from the Dutch Hall we like to call the theme song. And welcome to Live from the Dutch Hall. We are Canada's only late night podcast and the greatest podcast ever.
Goddamn right.
To come out of a pool shed in Pine Grove, Ontario, bar none.
Fuck yeah.
And I like to believe it's because we have the greatest band in podcast history. The Nocturnal Emissions, everybody. Let's hear it for them. And this week's band is comprised of the standard, the classic Nocturnal Emissions.
What did you call us?
The classic.
Standard.
Well, the standard, what do you call it? The standard bearer. You know, the bar of the Nocturnal Emissions. It's the original group, everybody, comprised of Steve the Reluctant German on lead guitar.
Hey!
We got the balls of the Nocturnal Emissions sitting right between the legs, like he should be this week. This guy's got a microphone and he's planning on using it this week. It's Whiskey Wes Higgins, everybody. And man, oh man, we did not have to wait 1 second for this man this week. He showed up early, prepared, ready to do vocals and rhythm guitar. He's Dave the Rooster Charters, everyone.
Hey!
Oh, and our percussionist, as Big Dutch calls the hair on the balls of the Nocturnal Emissions.
Yeah.
He's our band leader. Michael Bowe is here, everyone.
Hey, Mike.
And no podcast is complete, in my opinion, without a bartender. And this week we got two of our finest. Number one is our classic bartender, who I'm going to give another title to today. He's our director of our program.
Yeah,
He is my brother, our bartender and bus driver. Paul Van Dyke is here.
there I am.
There he is. There he is.
Hey.
I don't know what's going to get yelled at tonight.
And right beside him, everybody, you're going to see another guy who helps out Paul. Paul calls him the waitress, but I don't agree.
Oh, no, I take it back. That's the beat.
He's the Beeve, everybody. Derek Van Houten is here.
Right on. All right.
And filling our super fan role today. I'm very happy to have a super fan that became the super fan by buying our love like they all do. Bailey Aycock is here, everyone.
All right.
Hello.
A real life Pine Grovian. And of course, my wife is here participating in the pool. And we just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. Let's hear it from my beautiful bride, Dr. Jane Van Dyke.
Mazel tov.
And I am the host of this program, Camera One. Have a good look at me. I am the host of this program, two-time
Fucking time.
President's Club Award winner, Pete Van Dyke, everybody.
All right.
He's a real wizard. He's a real wizard with the technology.
Well, I'll tell you something. It is really weird to watch the show when you're lagged on YouTube like it is. And I was trying to watch it, see if anybody chatted or was joining, but they're not at all.
No.
Now, we are doing this show into the ether for the most part and just seeing if it works out. We tried it on Facebook Live, and it was okay. People were interested, but they didn't stay for a long enough period of time. So we said, what we got to lose? Let's try another platform. We're going to try on YouTube Live tonight. So welcome to everybody that's joining us on YouTube, or if you're watching on Facebook, because we'll share the link, surely. How you doing, everybody?
Hey.
We are live from the Dutch Hall, Canada's only late night we are Canada's only late night talk show.
Period.
Talk show. I say podcast, but we are not. We are Canada's only late night talk show. There is nothing else on the air that can compare to Live from the Dutch Hall in this country. And this is what you get when you don't put any money into any program in Canada. The best you're going to get for a late night talk show is this program, Live from the Dutch Hall.
That's right.
Nothing to bat your eyes at.
You got that right,
Well, that's what I say, Michael. It is nothing to sneeze at. It is nothing to sneeze at all. I actually set it as a New Year's goal this year to have to become more well known as Canada's late night talk show.
We are.
And someone said, "Yeah, what are you talking about? You've already done it. You've already become that, right?"
We hold the title.
That's a smart person who said that.
You think so?
I do.
Yeah, I do too, and I think people are going to get to know us short enough. But we've tried to take this show into the next level. What we try to do is we try to find a new audience. So we're doing these tricks to try to garner like an internet audience,
That's right.
right? And one of the things they said was that we should go on Google and find out what the major trends are for Google, and then we could comment on them. And then when we tag our show at the end, then presto changeo, boom.
Presto change.
All the people looking for whatever is the latest thing of the day or the week or the moment, right, would then look at our program by accident.
Just a couple hashtags. That's all it takes.
All it takes.
Are you looking something up, Charters, or do you want me to get through my...
No,
my
you get through your stuff there.
Do we got a jingle? We don't have a jingle for this one yet, but we got to work on something to do with Google jingle.
Google jingle.
Google jingle. But maybe we can start out with a jingle because the first story that's trending in Canada right now is to do with sports.
Oh.
So maybe we should do a little sports break.
Michael, what are the chords?
Oh, I think Wes had it tonight.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sports break.
Nice. Nice.
Well, of course, the big news now is the Winter Olympics. They're right around the corner.
Yep.
The Winter
yeah.
Olympics are a big deal. They're in Korea this year. Did you know they're in Korea this year?
Yeah. Pyongyang.
Pyongyang.
Is that
right?
how they say it?
That's how I say it.
That's how Charter says it.
Sounds right.
Charters has spent more time in the Orient than all of us put together. Would you say that's true, Charters?
Yeah, probably.
Do you
That's
call it
probably
the
true.
Orient when you're there? A lot of people call it the Orient.
No, I haven't, but I might start.
They call it the Orient. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would be offensive about that, but apparently it's old-fashioned. I think
Just taking a 24-hour flight to the Orient.
to the Orient. Yeah, just going to the Orient.
What's wrong with that?
Get some
gender,
nice-
gender neutral too.
Yeah, and that delicious food.
Maybe the Orient Express.
Oh, the very first. I was telling this story the other day, and it's about the very first time because when you're a kid, right? Excuse me, Lori. When you're a kid and you start to look at your dad's porno mags, and back in those days, it was just like magazines, You would just see naked women, and you might get a boner, and you're looking at the naked women, but you don't know there's anything more than the boner. The boner was just satisfying enough. Do you know what I mean? And then eventually, you realize that something comes out of your dick, And then once that comes into your head, like where something's going to come out of your dick, then it's like game on, right? Like then Do you guys? Any of you guys remember the moment that you realized that something came out of your dick, and you could do something to change it? Because I remember exactly the moment when I figured it out. Because we had the big dish. Remember, Paul? We had the big dish.
Oh yeah. What Galaxy 4?
I don't know what it was. I think it was S4.
S4.
But I remember going to American Triple Ecstasy back in the day, and we watched this movie. I still remember the title of it. It was called Lust on the Orient Express.
Whoa.
Lust on the Orient Express. And at one point in time, this guy is having intercourse with a young lady, right? And at one point in time, he pulls out of the young lady's vagina with his penis, and then he strokes his own penis until it spews jizz on the girl's stomach, right? Seems like a day a walk in the park by today's standards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But in those days when I was like 12, 13 years old, and you see cum coming out of a dick, you were like, oh my God, I'm definitely going to try that. Right away, I started tugging on it like that guy did in the movie. Sure as shit.
White ropes.
White ropes came out, and I was like, I figured this trick out. I'm going to do it all the time. All the time.
My knees feel weak.
I'm dehydrated. I don't care. Just give me, I'm just sitting there puffing jizz into an old towel somewhere in my bedroom.
An old gym sock.
Yeah, an old gym sock, hoping my parents don't catch me. Your kids are at that age now, Charters, where you must be catching on to them, maybe figuring it out.
I don't even like to think about it.
Oh, yeah? You don't, eh? You just like, yeah, well, it's none of your business, right?
Yeah.
It's none of your
Give them
business.
space.
Yeah.
He's got an army barracks that just kids pumping off over there.
It's weirder when girls figure it out. I don't know if you want to talk about it.
Why'd you put that to me?
Because you're a girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, how do girls figure it out? Like, they're just usually, like, riding a teddy bear or something like that, and then all of a sudden, whoopsie, I'm going to do this every night. Right? It's got to be something like that.
No, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Shower head or, like, something will get you.
The shower head was a thing I didn't figure out till, like, a few years ago. I was like, oh, that's a thing?
Yeah, you got to talk in the mic.
Like, oh, you can't hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. No, I didn't. The shower head was something I didn't realize was a thing till recently.
Oh, really?
Like, well, in the last few years. Feels
yeah.
like.
Yeah, like a year ago, I celebrate the anniversary of it every time. Golden shower heads. I think that I never understood the shower head thing, right? But I had a friend that told me he used it for himself, right? Anyways, we're wasting time. Sure. What subject was it? The Olympics?
Sports, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah, the Olympics.
Sports.
We somehow got into this was the Olympics, so now we can check that off the list. We talked about it, right?
Yeah. Canada's men's hockey team was announced today.
Oh, was it?
Oh, how's
A
it
bunch
look?
of guys that have been told no and now have been told yes. So it's going to be pretty neat to see those guys go at it for the.
But who-
it's a
Who's
huge
some names
deal.
on it?
Well, do you remember Mason Raymond?
Yeah.
Played for the Leafs. Derek Roy played for the.
Oh yeah.
Sabres. Yeah.
Herpes. He's got herpes.
Scrivens.
Ben Scrivens, the goalie. Yeah. So it's shit though. Like in sports, you get told no so much that these guys are getting it. Like, it's pretty cool that they get a chance to play in the Olympics.
Oh yeah, yeah, it is awesome. But it's who's got the best shittiest players.
Right. That's
Yeah.
I think Canada.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like I think we've always had that.
Yeah, now that the Russians, no,
It's not Russia
'Cause-
this year.
yeah,
Fuck that.
because back in those days,
Steroids, prick jobs.
yeah, back in those days when Russia would not let their players go in the Olympics, right? And then we had all of our good players in the NHL, and they had like all their good players like on the Red Army that would kill us, right? They did that for like 50 years or something like that. It was a long time we got killed. Anyway, so it'll be cool. You know what I think is another interesting story about the Olympics is that North Korea will be entering their first delegate or their first athletes, right, in the Olympics. But you know, if you're trying to like have a pissing match with Trump, right, and then you're going to go to the Winter Olympics, like I don't care any of these North Koreans. I don't envy any of them. They're going to be competing in these games, getting their ass kicked by the Americans, and then having to go back to fucking Kim Jong crazy or
It's gonna be
whatever.
a tough ride home.
Oh yeah, you just might get shot right in the head when you get home for like a sport. They're like, get on the fucking top of the mountain and ski as fast as you can. If you don't beat the Americans,
Yeah.
you're dead, and
We're
your
gonna strap
family.
you onto this big rocket
Yeah,
right on the top of it.
yeah, we're sending you to Washington.
Although the good thing about North Korea is they control the media, so they can just say they won anyway.
Yeah.
They won
They'll
the
never
Olympics.
Oh right.
They've already won.
Yeah, they'll win the Olympics.
It's already been released in the press.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Hey, remember when Hitler went to watch Jesse Owens kick their ass?
No.
What? In the Olympics during the war, when Hitler went to see Jesse Owens, that's a huge history story. No, Hitler went to go watch the Olympics because they're in Berlin,
Oh, in Berlin. that
and
makes
then Jesse Owens like cleaned up. He's a black guy.
Yeah, didn't he get like 3 medals or something?
I don't know. He like broke all the records. He was super fast and awesome, right? And then Hitler's saying all the white guys are the best. You know, that was his whole thing. But Jesse Owens was way better. Like way better.
sense. Turns
It
out.
wasn't even close, I don't think. So,
I wonder what Hitler would think of Oprah running for president.
did you notice in the Golden Globes that Oprah's cadence changed? So that she was like,
Oh no, we have not been recording the audio.
So
Oh
it's
my
not funny,
God.
but it is kind of funny. Hit record now. Put out what you get. That's
Yeah.
what I say.
We can redo a theme song.
the nice part about this show, if we can redo a theme song on it, is that the audio show will now be, it will just have the good parts of the death
That's
pool.
right.
That's right.
You won't have to endure any of the nasty parts of our intro,
Yeah.
which was supposed to be about the Olympics and ended up being about me coming for the first time. So I don't think you missed much, but maybe you did. Go to the YouTube live feed. It's actually nicer because the live people got a special treat that the audio podcast people didn't get. So,
It's true.
It's a new generation.
anyways, yeah. So and it leads us nicely into our next story. We're trying to just to go over a bit of the news before we go on. And I wanted to say the Tim Hortons controversy is a big one
Ooh.
in Canada. And
Is it just Tim Hortons?
well, what happened is that Tim Hortons, there was a couple of Tim Hortons owners up in one in Cobourg and one in Kingston, and they said because of the minimum wage hike in Ontario, they're going to get rid of paid breaks for some of their employees and a few benefits or something they're taking away, right? So as a business owner, I can understand that minimum wage hike sucks, right? It's going to cost everyone more money. Right?
Yeah, my coffee's already more expensive.
No, it fucking sucks big time.
Yeah, it sucks. The minimum wage goes up. Now, the other factor in
Ask a farmer.
the other factor in that is that this one Cobourg operation, it wasn't just owned by any like slouch that owns a franchise. It was like Tim Hortons' granddaughter, you know, like and their husband.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like one of the original Tim Hortons people.
Home base.
We're saying, and these guys are pieces of shit because you can't like if you're gonna lose money, raise the price of your shitty coffee. Don't take it out on your employees, man. Like why would you
or
steal?
Don't. Or make a little
Make
bit
less money. But those are the options. But the first place they go is their employees to save money. The people that are getting paid like shit already, that are like putting up with all this white trash coming in asking for triple fucking bullshit.
Hanging out at.
Yeah, but Tim Hortons is a
Godly
money bag
hours.
too, though. Like that, they make so much money.
Yeah, they make tons of money. What?
Shitload of
But there's
money.
never enough. There's never enough for these corporations. They never can get enough. And that's what brings me to the next story, which is President's Choice, as long as we're talking about these corporate assholes. President's Choice was found out or was admitted to price fixing for the last 14 years with Weston, which is also their
Oh, yeah,
company,
Weston, yeah.
who makes bread, and they price fixed bread for 14 years, and they just admitted to it. Oh, thanks, Beef. And they just admitted to it. And I'm going to tell you, this goes along with Tim Hortons. The only surprising part about any of these stories is that people are surprised that a big corporation is going to fuck over people to try to make more money. Like, they're going to do this every fucking time to you. So why would you, like, what's the surprise? And President's Choice thing, went away as soon as they gave you a $25 gift card. Everyone fucking forgets and goes right back to shop, and they don't care, right?
But there's a loophole to it. So
What's that?
if they go to like a group trial or whatever,
A class action
class
suit?
action suit. There
Yeah.
you go. You got it. If there's a payout, they can like take away your $25 gift card because apparently you'll get the payout. So I think you put your name in and you would get some sort of payout from the class action suit.
Yeah, but I heard they dropped the suit because of the payout recent. But I don't know. Maybe that's an old story. But
I don't know. I just read it today.
I know. The point is that as long as there's a corporate structure where you have to answer to your shareholders in a publicly traded corporation, and you're gonna every quarter you have to make more money, they're gonna take that from anywhere they can, which is always gonna be at the expense of people, and the system sucks. So if you're working in that system or you're buying stuff in that system, it's just this shitty system. That's all I got to say about it.
And also, why isn't it called Prime Minister's Choice in Canada? It's fucking bullshit.
I agree 100% with that, Michael.
Yep.
That is the best point of the night.
Thank you.
And
Maybe
the-
they could use the Prime Minister's name and call it Justin's Choice.
Well, he is the Prime Minister.
yes,
He's got
How
a
about
nice
that?
flow.
he has a great set of hair. And what was he? What did he do before he was prime minister? Does anyone know?
Teenage Heartthrob?
He was a drama teacher.
Was he a drama teacher? Really? Because that's like pretty sad, right? Like we have in the States, they got a fucking like a businessman or whatever, but we have a drama teacher. Like he honestly,
Amateur boxer.
Good call.
I don't know. I tried to like him because he was my age, and I wanted to like have a guy my age not fuck things up. But it's like, ugh, this guy. He makes us all seem like pussies, man. First guy my age to lead a country. He's like so much of a pussy. Like, don't you agree?
People still like him.
We had tried to get him on the show, but he has not returned our calls. He has not returned our calls.
He was in London today.
He's
Was
missing
he?
out.
He's so close.
So
He
close.
was Hamilton last night, London
Doesn't like
today.
the smoke.
Oh, yeah, that's probably
he likes
it.
the
Loves
smoke.
the taxes, though.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hey, the only other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into our segment, that you know what it's called.
Before.
Before
Sorry.
there's one more thing, and I don't want to talk about it too much on this show, but I do want to mention it. And this is the Logan Paul controversy. Has anyone heard of the Logan Paul controversy?
Just recently.
Yeah, and it was Logan Paul. Now we bought our nephew, your son, a shirt, Logan Paul shirt,
Oh, yeah.
right? Because this kid sells merch, and he's one of these California douchebag people that has a YouTube channel, and kids love him, right?
Yep.
He's huge with kids, like young kids, right? And they go to the suicide forest or something in Japan, and they film. They're going through the suicide forest, and they actually stumble upon a dead body hanging from the tree, and they show a dead body. So there's all these kids out there that are seeing for the first time a real life dead person on YouTube.
Yeah.
And this guy, to his credit, I guess, for a douche, they did try to make some sort of statement about it, like to try to say this is like, if you're having trouble, get help, and this isn't the way to get out and all that stuff. But meanwhile, they use the picture of the dead body as their promo stuff, their thumbnail for everything, And so as a result, they caught a lot of shit, and this guy lost all his sponsorship on YouTube and everything like that. By the way, I worry about the stuff I say on this program that I can put it on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. And it turns out my kids, I walk past what they're watching, and you hear like stuff that's way worse than our fucking program. That's for sure. And they're all just a bunch of douches that are just talking about their cars or their how rich they are or how successful or whatever. I don't get it. And
It's because you're considerate.
yeah, you know what I think we should do? I think we should have a show where we have to like go to our kids and ask them what they're watching, and then watch it,
Oh no!
And
let's not have-
reaction videos.
and then basically just put on clips of what our kids are watching and like try to make sense of
We
it.
could sell it to people our age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd be watching the kid videos like of other people watching.
Yeah, these and the thing is, the
Fuck,
people
eh?
making these kids videos are adults, and they're not making them really for kids. They're making it for other 20-year-old like
People that are dressing up in weird
other,
shit.
yeah, other college kids or whatever, or just young people that are out fucking and like wanting to go to clubs and stuff. You know, like those awesome days
I had never heard of this Logan Paul guy until
till the controversy.
yeah, and even then I didn't even hear about it in the news. My son told me about this guy, and my son was like disappointed, like because he knows this guy.
He had
He's
watched
like,
his shows.
My
Yeah.
kids were devastated. He got banned for 15 days or whatever. And Logan came up in the morning and told me, like, Logan Paul's banned for 15 days for showing a dead body. He's like, what am I going to watch for 15 days?
When Pete first brought it up, I thought he was talking about you and your son.
Well, I
Yeah.
think that
Oh,
could be
Logan
what-
Paul. Yeah.
Logan and
Oh
Paul.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that's this guy's huge, man. Like their followings are like millions of kids or whatever, but millions of people, but they don't realize how many of them are kids.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the question: what happens if Live from the Dutch Hall becomes an internet success, right? But it's all fucking 13-year-old boys, right? That's all that listens to our show. We're huge. We got 1 million listeners now, but they're all a bunch of kids. And now all of a sudden, every time I talk about, first time I jerked off because I saw the guy in the movie do it.
Through white ropes.
Yeah. Then I'm setting a bad example for children who are listening to the show, right?
Yeah, is that your fault?
Is it my
Is
fault?
that our fault?
Because right now, who would you say we're marketing to this show? Bailey, you're a super fan of the show,
Why?
so
Come on, Steve.
Come on, that's the question everyone wants to know.
yeah, that is actually a pretty good question.
I think you're marketing to people like local people, but it's people 20 to probably 50. I mean, your dad listens. I don't know how
Yeah.
old he is, but
Yeah, actually, to be honest with you,
He's
I have
45.
had high school kids, to people in their 60s, and men and women. It's like an even split. I can't even like people say you like because I had to go I'm trying to step up my marketing, like try to get into. And so I say they were like, "What's your target audience?" I'm like, I don't know. People that are alive between like 16 and between 16 and 65, 70. 16 and 70,
Okay.
male and female. That's basically the entire world.
Big
Pretty
range.
much anyone who will listen.
Yeah, it's basically everybody. And there's no like
I think that's a positive, though.
well, yeah, I guess so, right? Because it's gotta have some universal appeal if everybody listens. But like, I can't pin down an audience to focus on because they're just so varied.
But
We have
if that's an interview question and you're able to say everybody, then I think you're doing something right.
yeah, I guess so.
Most these days, everything is targeted audience.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, yeah, because I'm not targeting shit. And they ask me what's the show about, and I'm like, I don't know. What the fuck is the show about?
Everything.
Yeah, it's everything, right? Certain shows,
And nothing at the same time.
and nothing at the same time. Yeah. So I don't know, So it's hard to focus on what you're doing when you don't know really what you're doing. Anyways,
But it's like hanging out with friends or family,
Yes.
of all ages. You're just hanging out and having a conversation.
well, that is the main piece of feedback that we've gotten. Is that we are just a bunch of people who are just normal guys hanging out and smoking and drinking and having a good time, and some guys shed, and that's the most relatable thing about it.
Exactly.
And because everybody does it, whether you're male or female, and I think women like the fact there's kind of spying on us a bit. Is that
Right.
true?
no.
No. Well, because you're regular, you seem like kind of cool, like a
Oh, okay,
dude,
thanks.
kind of. Like you're not like you probably have friends that are dudes, right?
Yeah, lots. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like that. You seem like you would fit in with a bunch
Yeah, I'm
with
not
a
into
group full of guys.
girls can be. It's too much work sometimes. It's like
Oh,
they
yeah.
get a little. Yeah.
Oh man, I got 2 daughters. It is a new ball game, man. Women deal in the relationships they have with each other. It's just not like we.
And
would
you're
have.
right. Like your daughters are right in the throes of like it.
Oh, the worst.
Gets like it's scary. Like high school and yeah.
Catty bitches and stuff. Oh
Yeah.
man, all that stuff. Can you like? I thought about my niece plays girls hockey. Not that she's told a story, but I've heard other people tell stories about girls hockey. You know, about how when guys are in a hockey dressing room and they just like fart and like make jokes and talk dirty and stuff. And the
Piss
girl,
bombs.
but a girl's dressing room, it's like there's all kinds of like feelings hurt about something somebody did, and
I picture it being like super judgmental as well. Like
yeah,
in
little
the girls' hockey room. Like,
and little cliques and stuff
know,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. I don't know. It's way worse being a woman because it's so much more emotional. You have to be so much more invested. We can be distant as men. We can just detach ourselves from shit because it doesn't matter. Like we're just gonna.
Yeah, like
I can have a fall with my friend and like not see him for 3 years, and then the next time I see him, we're just like but we're just exactly like old friends again.
girls are like that though with like good true friends, right?
Yeah.
Like you can do that. You can go a couple years without seeing somebody and then you fall right back into it. I think it's that, trying to be friends with someone that you probably shouldn't be friends with in the first place. That's when it gets a little catty and weird. And
Yeah, sometimes it's more about like social status than it is about friendship, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Like it's more
Yeah.
about your social standing. You want to associate with certain people in high school and stuff.
Yeah, that's male or female though.
Yeah,
don't you?
males are the same.
Yeah.
way.
That
It's all
falls,
politicking.
that goes out the window the minute you leave college and you're like, I'm kind of on my own here. So
I'm just a regular dude. Everyone's the same.
yeah.
And all the people that you thought were losers are now like the coolest people, have all the
Yeah.
money.
Takes time to figure it out.
Yeah. Hey, we should do a segment we call feedback. We call feedback. Or we got feedback.
we got feedback. Feedback.
Motherfucking feedback.
Welcome to Feedback. We got feedback, everybody. This week's feedback is brought to you as always by our good friends at Amazon. If you'd like to go to Live from the Dutch Hall's website, livefromthedutchhall.com, and turn off your ad blocker and some of that, and you can click on the Amazon banner and do your shopping, and some of that money's going to come back and help the show. And thank you to everyone that's done that. Also, we'd like to give a shout out to our friends at NORPAC.
The beef people.
And thank you for helping us get this show on video. And our friends at CleanFlow, of course, who are our primary sponsor of this program.
What up, CleanFlow?
And Charles is looking at the poster on the wall because, of course, he forgot again to do his homework for CleanFlow.
Best sponsor ever.
I had a busy week.
Yeah, but luckily for us charters, CleanFlow also sponsors another business called Van Dyke Party
Oh,
Services.
thank goodness.
And we're coming up into a lot of things coming up. Super Bowl. You want to talk Super Bowl? Hey, you ever been to a Super Bowl party with a bunch of pear-shaped losers who sit there looking at the friggin' screen and they're just like, don't talk. I just want to chew on my bean dip.
Yeah, what are you having, a chili cook-off?
I'm busy.
Fuck
eating my
off.
guacamole.
I want to hear the commentary, And then those people are making it not so much fun, the sport of football and the grand spectacle that is the Super Bowl. We can tag that too. Now Super Bowl. And I want to say that if you want to have a good Super Bowl party, all you got to do is contact livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com and ask for Van Dyke Party Services. Van Dyke Party Services will send you between 5 and 29 Van Dyke first cousins in bright yellow jackets, and you are guaranteed to have the time of your life. And all it's going to cost you is $100 of cold hard cash, plus all of our expenses, which will be dear.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're not 100% satisfied, we will return that $100, but those expenses have run through our bodies and potentially yours. Van Dyke Party Services,
Don't live your life in regret.
brought to you by CleanFlow. And, the only other people we'd like to give a shout-out to is our good friends at Yarmy Electric.
Well, yes.
And Yarmy Electric, you got to remember one thing about Yarmy Electric. Derek Yarmy, the proprietor of that business, is a busy, busy man. This guy's doing great work. What he does is he's a fireman. What he does is he runs a business.
Saves lives.
He's an employer.
He's busy.
He is a father of probably 800 children.
Potent in his cock.
This man does not have time for you and your bullshit that you are worried about in your house. Oh, my toaster's starting to spark when I plug it in.
Toodly doo.
Oh, stick a fucking fork in it. What do I care? Derek Yarmy's busy. Yarmy Electric, if we don't get it right the first time, we'll get it right the second time. And if we don't get it right the second time,
You can stick a fork in it.
Let the man rest.
that's it for our ads. But now we have to get into feedback. You know, there's lots of ways to give us feedback. You can go on a number of different programs: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You know, all those things. Look for Dutch Hall or look for Live from the Dutch Hall. You can also give us feedback at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com. Or in person. If you see us around town, just tell us what you think of the show. We like it either way. And I got to tell you something right now. A lot of people have been, since we've gone to video, have been commenting on the poor quality of our program. And most of it's technical, right? One of the people a couple weeks ago that did this was a former guest of the show, a man that has been a supporter of us in the past. We're on the liner notes of his new album, Jay Kips.
Ah, Jay.
Oh, Jay.
Jay Kips, this was a couple weeks ago, and Jay Kips said to us, he said, Pete, he goes, you're going to have to get rid of that drum kit. He does not like the drum kit. He thinks that we are splitting the audience in half, and that people will not tolerate the shitty sound of our drums. And I gotta say this to you, Jay Kips. I appreciate the honest, candid feedback and he says we should go back to the Cahoon. He says go back to the Cahoon because that's where you guys should peak. You should hit your plateau, your glass ceiling of Cahoon. And when you bring in a drum kit, don't even bother. You're not smart enough to figure it out.
It's horseshit.
It's horseshit. You guys cannot progress to that level.
It's worse than manure.
And I say to you, Jay Kips, I appreciate the feedback, but we're moving onwards and upwards, and we're going to figure this fucking shit out. So every week we get a little bit better. Every week we're going to gain on it, and eventually, and we have a sound guy coming in. He was supposed to be in this week, but he had a terrible tragedy.
The floods are coming.
And we need to get we'll get him in, and we're going to get this thing figured out. So bear with us, because we will make this better. The other piece of feedback we got was live and in person, and it was from Willie Van Dyke.
Oh, big up, Willie. Big up.
Stand-up guy.
And when Willie Van Dyke speaks, you got to listen because he speaks wisdom. And he says you guys are always doing shows after you're always doing a podcast after a show. You've done it a couple times now, and you never mention the show. You never really talk about the details of the show. You talk about comedy or whatever, but you don't talk about the actual show that we did. So I thought, what better way to satisfy my dad, Willie Van Dyke, than to talk about at least the new Limburg show last week when we killed it.
Our most recent show.
Yeah, so you guys were all part of it, right? And I got to tell you, we showed up halfway through the show, so we did miss the beginning part of the program.
They started early.
Yeah, they started earlier than I would have expected.
Charters was on time.
Yeah, Charters was the first one there, and we didn't expect them to even come. Anyway, so Charters ended up coming, and so we're all there, and the crowd seemed pretty good when we got there, right?
The crowd was good. The room was great.
Yeah,
New
packed,
Limburg, good job.
Yeah, New Limburg, great job. And then
Nice place.
I think the beginning of the show, I don't think it went as well as the end of the show, right? Like, I think it started slow.
It's not a thought. Yeah, you're bang
Oh,
on.
Beef was there.
I was there,
You were there for the whole thing?
The end was 10 out of 10. Like, it was good.
Oh, really?
Honestly, yeah.
That's a good review.
It
Was the place full?
That was feedback.
Yeah, it was full.
It was jammed.
Yeah.
You brought the whole crowd in. Everybody was.
When I got
tuned
there,
in.
there was people sitting in the hallway when I got there. Like out in the
Fighting
hall,
to
not
get
even
in.
in the room, yeah. Full room.
Yeah.
Nice too.
There was people that tried to get tickets that couldn't, so that's a good sign. So anyways, we ended up, we played 2 bits. We did the Sweater Story bit and Eduardo at the end. And I got to tell you, Swazies, when we bombed, Bailey was at both our Swazies gigs. And when we bombed at the first
She's a
Swazi...
super fan.
What? You blame it on everybody. You bombed. On the other
Yeah, okay. I ate shit on this Eduardo gig.
Thanks, Paul.
I totally forgot the lyrics, and the people that have played the song with me, like every time I played
all
it,
forgot the lyrics.
all forgot the lyrics as well. They were of no help.
But it was how you played it off that made it still comical.
Oh, you were there too?
I was there too.
When I ate it? And then the next time I went to Swazi's, I didn't have the courage to try it again. I didn't have the courage because
It's still an open wound.
it was still an open wound. It was the scene of the crime, you know.
Burns like a flaming hawk.
So we have to. Swazi wants us back there, so we got to find a date. We're going to come back to Swazi's, and we guarantee that we will play Eduardo next time.
Oh yeah.
And also, if you go this Friday to Paris to the Grand Bayou at 9:00, I will be headlining that show too. And we have 2 members of the Nocturnal Emissions, and I'm not telling you which 2. That were going to allow me to play Eduardo at least, and maybe something else. But we're going to at least do Eduardo. So come down to Paris, 9:00 at the Grand Bayou. You can see
Come on down.
Pete Van Dyke headline there.
Do they serve food there at the Grand Bayou?
Oh, yeah.
Is that a nice spot for dinner?
They got food there. They got food and they got booze.
And booze.
Yeah, both.
And comedy.
Those are winners.
Yeah, and comedy.
I
They got
don't
all
see a
3.
downside.
Well, that's it. We only have to talk to one other person. One other person. And he's been with us since the very beginning of the show. He's our good buddy, the Haitian Dwarf.
1, 2, 3, what's up to bed we go.
I wanted head, but now you're dead.
Hi-ho, hi.
That was written by Mary Tyler Moore's husband. last year. And it begins that we start the death stuff. All right. Haitian Dwarf has been with us since the very beginning, and last week he sent us some feedback on iTunes. And he gave us 5 stars. He entitles his feedback Camera Angles. He says,
Well
"What?"
played, HG.
He says, "Well, for the first 3/4 of the show, you actually had the best looking band in podcast history." And if you watch that show, you will notice that the band's camera is out. And the band decided that, you know what, because they have a responsibility to the audience, the viewing audience,
That's right.
that they were going to not let this one camera that was out ruin the good time of the program for the viewing audience at home. So they decided to entertain the best they could in the shot with the shot they had. Now, I got to tell you, though it might be entertaining for the fans, it sure as fuck distracted the hell out of me.
Did it?
Yeah.
Never noticed.
You
It
didn't
wasn't
know?
noticeable, no.
No, it really bothered me. And then, so I think when I do that, it's like a horrible, like it's ruining the show, you know. But I think it's actually probably better to watch me lose my shit, isn't it?
Sure is.
Like I think the part where even
We were all hopeful today before the show that we were going to get something.
yeah,
Some
really
sort of
close.
explosion. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah, the ISO cam. That's exactly right.
yeah. At the beginning, it was
Ready to blow.
Pete's head is red of that sign.
yeah. It was like really tough at the beginning because I couldn't get my computer to work, and I started saying the C word a lot around the office. Yeah, that's an old trick I learned from my dad. When things aren't going well, just say cunt a lot, and seems to help. Seems to help.
That's how you let people know.
Yeah.
Not to fuck with you.
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, yeah,
Now's
especially
not
like the inanimate objects. You know, I mean, you're just yelling at like a furnace or something. You know, or in this case, my computer. But anyways, you know, we have one thing we got to do here, and that is play or like do the Dutch Hall Death Pool.
Hey.
boy.
These are the rules of the pool. This is your chance as the people in the pool to participate in the rules. This is your only chance to argue or to disagree with the rules of this pool. The rules of this pool are as such. Everyone puts in $5 for 2 categories. One category is first to die in 2018.
First to die.
The first person that gets a person to die will get the pot of $5 per person. 9 people in the pool. That equals $45.
Whoa. Yeah, it was a big win for me last year.
Yeah, minus your 5 equals 40. 40 profit is what you'll get. That's a pretty sweet deal. The second prize is most to die, also costing people another $5 to enter.
Amount of dead.
Most to die will be the most people in your team to die. They're very easy rules. No arguments there. Now this is the pickle. We have 9 people in this room, 9 people, And sometimes you people get in your own zones, don't pay attention. Maybe you have too much to drink. Maybe you're getting tired because you've been building a house all day in the wintertime, or you've been seeing a plethora of people bitching about stupid eye problems or whatever. But whatever your thing is, you might not pay attention to what one of our picks. Now, if you pick something that somebody else has picked, you have to drink a shot because you're an idiot.
Oh, fuck.
And if we have to take your drunk ass home, we will.
That's how it goes. Them's the rules.
But if it ruins your day at work tomorrow, and then it does, don't be stupid. Listen.
Pay attention now.
41
Do we
shots.
pick the
Also,
guy-
if we think you're taking too much time, we can assign you a shot because you're being disruptive to the show.
Do we pick the kind of shot, or does the bartender?
Oh, that's a good call.
Nice question.
Bartender.
I say
Bartender.
anybody at the bar.
Okay, I guess the three people at the bar have the right to take care of that. They're in charge.
We'll be nice to everyone.
And we have all the booze sent to us from Live from the Dutch Hall listeners in the past. So thank you very much.
Thank
There's a
you.
whole
Thank
bunch
you.
of stuff that we can give them.
We like
So-
booze.
There's a new bottle tonight too.
Yeah, new bottle from our super fan. Another gift from the super fan. She secured her roll. Thank you very much. Spice whiskey. Very
my
nice. Thank you,
favorite kind
Bailey.
of
Delightful.
box.
It's
Was
not
good.
uh,
It was nice.
Oh, I have
too
it.
hard, not too soft, kind of like Michael Bolton.
Oh,
It's
here it is
going
right
on.
here. I haven't had it.
What the?
Cheers.
Pine Grove.
Ooh, it tastes good.
Yeah.
It's like got all the parts that make you go. Ugh. The whiskey is out of it.
It's the Michael Bolton of shots.
Oh yeah, just a little. Oh, there it is. The
Yeah.
Michael Bolton came in. The
That's it.
aftertaste.
Yeah,
Was that what his back of his head tastes like? Man.
Hard and soft.
that's the party part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, there are 5 categories in this pool. 5 categories. First is someone coming from the world of music. Secondly, will someone coming from the world of sports. Third will be train wrecks. This will involve anybody who is probably leading a wild lifestyle that could result in their untimely death. This could be drugs, could be depression,
Sex.
could be scandal, whatever you think is going to cause their untimely death, or maybe they're just like race cars or something like that, you know. But it has to be a train wreck type category, something that's going to cause like a tragedy. Fourth category is fat people. Fat people are likely to die. It's a fact of life. Some of the fat people will expire early from heart disease, diabetes. Some of them will just be fat and die of like drug overdoses, something different, right? But either way, these people have to be fat. If they're not fat enough, we have the right to argue as a group.
Fair enough.
Fat guy category.
Okay.
And the last category is open. Now, open category is whatever you want. You want to pick another train wreck, you want to pick another fat guy, you want to pick another sports guy, whatever. But this one will be mostly reserved for the very elderly and infirm. The ones that are right now knocking on death's door. Ah. And so, with that, we have to pick our starting order. And because Michael was the champion last year, he won not only first dead with Hugh Hefner, but he also won tied for most dead with 1. He had Hugh Hefner and I had Gord Downey, so we split that one. Michael, as a result, won the most money at $35 last year, and Michael should be able to choose first as winner's rights.
All right.
All right.
I'll agree.
Agree?
I second that.
So what's
Second
the first-
place would be
Okay.
Pete.
So
Pete,
I'm like in the draft. I'm number 1.
you're number 1. Yeah.
Yes.
And and then I will be number 2 because I got second place. Because I got second place. Now this is like a reverse draft, right? So you go, the last person would pick twice, right?
A snake.
A snake draft. Some
A
call it.
snake draft, yeah.
I like it.
Okay, so
How are we picking the rest?
how are we picking
Like
the rest?
The order.
Yeah, we have to
Like clockwise, maybe?
Reverse alphabetical.
reverse out.
Last name. First letter of your last name.
Why? So because you're C?
I don't know. I just was trying to do something random. That'll probably put me last.
Okay, I'm gonna do
That
something
makes
better.
me last.
I'll go Dave.
Out of a hat.
I need another pen. Can you pass me the pen from that whiteboard? Just throw it. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, Michael Bowe is already on there. Okay,
Mama.
Can't use it
All right, so I have everybody here. Paul. And then Jane. Okay, so is that everybody? Oh, Beaver. Okay, so I got it now. We'll do the little wrestling. First person out is so third pick is going to Beaver.
Beaver.
Hey.
Fourth pick goes to Dave.
Yeah.
Oh.
Fifth pick goes to Steve the Reluctant German.
Top 5.
Nice spot. Nice spot.
Then Michael
it.
Bowe.
Oh, I'm already number 1.
Oh, then Jane.
There you go. Then Jane.
Then Bailey. Then Paul. Then Wes.
Lucky number
Okay.
7.
Oh, Wes.
Wes gets the double pick at
Double
the
pick at the
end.
end, though.
So, Michael, you can choose from any of the 5 categories.
All right. I had a high pick. He's high on everybody's lists, and after watching the Golden Globes, I'm going to take him number 1 overall. Kirk Douglas.
Oh,
I'll take that. Gibberish
Are we not doing
talking
music
old
first, though?
Fool.
No.
Any category,
He's
I
got
believe.
first.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
that's your
Any
open.
category.
You went with your
Open.
open right off the bat.
yeah.
Great.
Take him.
That's a bold move, Michael.
I'll take him, Dave.
Now, I'm going to tell you why I like this strategy that Michael has. Number 1, you went with something that he's almost a guarantee to die this year. Like, he is old as fuck, 100 years old.
He might not be first, but it will happen.
Beaver has some stats on this guy. I think he has been in like you said, like the last 16 death pool, like top prospects. Kurt Douglas has been 16 of them in a
Keep
row.
saying fuck you.
Beave's done his homework.
Yeah. Kurt Douglas is a tough motherfucker to live to 100. I'll give him that. But his days could be numbered. Michael Bowe picks Kurt Douglas
Number 1.
as his first overall pick.
Solid choice.
Solid choice, Michael.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now I can go with anyone I want, right? Any category. I'm number 2 pick, right? So Pete Van Dyke will take as his number 2 pick. I'm going to start out, because I'm so excited about my fat guy pick, I'm going to go with my fat guy pick. Now, I am a fan of this particular guy, and there's 2 questions. Is he fat enough, and is he famous enough, right? But I'm going to say both. I agree that he is. I'm going to take as my first pick Artie Lang.
God damn it!
Artie Lang in the
Great
fat guy
pick.
category.
Great pick.
No,
Totally in the fat category, in my opinion.
yeah. So I got Artie Lang as my fat guy. Artie Lang is, and I love him. I love the guy. I wish he wouldn't be like so close to death, but he is currently in the hospital, and he was made to go to rehab
He's
because
addicted to heroin.
stabbed himself a bunch of times in the chest at one point in time. Lots of things going for. Everyone's surprised he's still alive. So unfortunately, as much as I like Artie Lang, I'm banking on you dying this year, buddy.
Nice pick, Pete.
Does anyone know who was the number 3?
It was Derek.
That's me.
Oh, the Beav.
I'm gonna go with my music pick, which is Cher.
Oh. Now, do you know any backstory to Cher? Like, is she like ill or?
No, she just looks fucked up.
I like it. I like Beav's gusto out of the gate.
I could
Cher.
have gone train wreck on that one, but
Yeah. I don't know with Cher. Like, if she's gonna be like, how would she die?
well, she's got enough fake shit on her. It's gotta wear out sooner or later.
You think it'll be silicone poisoning or something like that?
Like
Yeah.
there'll be a puncture of some kind.
Yeah. Well, that's a fair bet. All right, that's Beav. Who's number 4?
Dave.
That's me.
Churchy.
I'm gonna go with fat people,
Oh.
and I'm gonna go with Norm Peterson.
Oh, George went.
Oh,
Yeah, George went.
George went.
From Cheers.
cheers.
I'm gonna tell you something, Dave, about George Wendt. That's a good pick, man. That's on my thing.
I saw him on Bill Nye Saves the World recently. He does not look good.
I just saw him in a show. He's doing Death of a Salesman on stage.
Oh, really? That's gonna wear him out. Big guy like that.
Not doing too well. Forgot a bunch of lines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Sorry, George.
I'm going hard tack for George Wendt. And I bet you George Wendt did a bunch of coke back in the day, too. That's what I'm saying. I bet you all those guys did. And those guys die in middle age. People did a lot of coke when they were young. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if George Wendt did. Just a guess. Who's next?
Steve.
I'm gonna go with music, and I'm choosing Jerry Lee Lewis.
Oh, that guy was on my
The
list.
killer.
too.
See
The
ya.
killer, Jerry Lee Lewis. Yeah, Jerry Lee Lewis is around. Like when we talk about coke, now let's talk about uppers and downers. This guy did tons of drugs with Elvis and Johnny Cash.
Oh yeah.
And you know, so both those guys have died. And this guy keeps living somehow. And I don't know if it's from having sex with underage cousins or what gives you the power to live so long. But Jerry Lee Lewis, I think it's going to catch up with him in 2018, and so does Steve.
Nice pick, Steve.
Going down, Jerry Lee Lewis.
Smart pick.
Next on the list,
Jane.
Jane.
So the open category,
Oh.
I'm gonna go with Stephen Hawking.
Oh, Stephen Hawking's like in his 70s, right?
Nice pick.
The robot will die.
Stephen Hawking's. Now, this.
A moment in time.
Does it count if his computer still talks?
I think that battery's got to burn out in that bad boy, and it's going to short out.
He's probably got his conscience. He's probably figured out how to get his consciousness like to live when his body dies. He'll probably never die. Like that. Like Steve said, that computer's just gonna keep living. If the computer ends up being his real consciousness, that's like can think and make decisions.
Yeah.
Is he still dead?
I don't know how to determine that. This is going to be real controversial.
First, you got to be able to take a piss.
We'll have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diapers means you're dead.
After Jane is
Myself,
Bailey.
Yeah. Ooh, this one could go between Trainwreck and music. So I'm going to go with just Trainwreck. And I'm going to go with that Derek Whibley from Sum 41.
Wow.
Ooh.
Trainwreck.
Which one is he?
He was a lead
Lead
singer,
singer.
and like last year he
Nice choice.
had some issues with like drugs and alcohol, and he like was maybe 40 pounds and wasn't looking too hot. So I mean, he never was looking too hot, but like looking.
But
even
still
worse.
married Avril Lavigne.
No, not married to Avril Lavigne anymore. That is Chad Kruger as that now.
He was married at one time, right? to
Yes.
Yes, he was.
Oh yeah, she's married to the Chad.
Wes's
Can you believe that?
singer.
Brr, brr.
I vote next year we have a hope to die category.
That's a good call, Wes. That's a good call. Are you the only one left, Wes?
Paul.
Paul's
Paul.
next.
I'm gonna go with Bob Barker.
Oh.
Is that for your open?
Is he not
My
dead
old
yet?
as fuck.
Now,
Yeah.
Pete, I was asking if we had a keeper pool, and you said we could challenge.
Yes.
A
Sorry, that's a
keeper.
rule I forgot. Yeah.
I'd like to challenge Paul and a keeper.
You had.
Bob Barker in my pool last year.
Okay, so this is a rule that we didn't discuss. So if you had this person in your pool last year and somebody picks them, then you have the right to challenge for that pick. Now, in order to challenge for that pick, and we have it. Mike had him on his team last year, Bob Barker. Paul picks him as a very solid pick.
Great pick.
Now, if Mike can win this challenge, then Mike can get Bob Barker, and then Paul will get Mike's pick,
Oh.
the next pick.
Okay.
So this is a really important challenge. Michael, do you still, knowing the rules, do you still want to challenge Paul?
Now, what I would have to ask is, where does Bob Barker fall? Celebrity, I guess, right?
He's going to be in the open category. It's the
See,
only
and I
one.
already took my open,
Who did you take?
so I can't double take an open.
He took Kirk Douglas.
Oh, Kirk Douglas.
Oh, yeah.
He can't have both. Because what else is he going to fit in?
So I'm gonna retract
Challenge denied.
retract my challenge because of a technicality.
Unless Bob Barker can play sports or sing.
I don't think he can do any of those
But he
things
can
now.
fucking work that skinny little microphone.
Yeah, he sure can. And he can sexually harass the girls that point at fridges.
Yeah. Nobody's accused him of anything.
They were
Yeah,
asking
they did.
for it.
Oh.
Yeah, the redhead especially.
Yeah, 2007 was his sexual harassment suit.
For that old chestnut.
2007.
Nice pick.
Him too.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I think anybody that's like over the age of say 70 for sure has sexually harassed the shit out of tons of people.
2 or 3.
Oh, tons. I think it was just a natural way that people did things, and there was no repercussions. You just used to like just harass girls on the regular, and now there's all these like people in the corporate world that are like taking harassment training, and they have to come out and give it and say like, "Oh, you girls are empowered and don't do this." And meanwhile, there's like some old secretary sitting in the corner and be like, "That guy's grabbed my ass through the '70s, man." Like that guy never stopped grabbing my ass in the '70s. Anyways. I'm just telling you, if you're an old guy, you're probably a dirtbag and you deserve to be punished. That's all I have to say. What? Sorry, whose pick is it?
Bob
Wes.
Barker, Paul.
Paul got Bob Barker uncontested.
Yes. So now it's Wes.
Now it brings
Wes
to
is up.
Wes the last pick of round 1.
Okay, my train wreck is going to be Harvey Weinstein.
Ooh.
I think he's going to
That could also have qualified for Fat Guy,
Yeah.
but he went with Trainwreck Harvey Weinstein. Good pick,
Nice pick.
because from what I hear, Weinstein is not handling the crumble of his career well.
There's a rope on his door.
Is it? It would be a suicide for sure with Weinstein.
He's not going to prison.
No. He doesn't have the courage. So yeah, and that would be kind of like a kind of like cool. Like, I mean, when Harvey Weinstein died, it would be like it would be kind of like vindicated, right? Like,
There's no parade. Let's put it that way.
yeah, no one's gonna be really too
Yeah.
upset about it. That's what I'm saying. He's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Eh? Now, if Harvey Weinstein was like a good-looking dude, like if he looked like George Clooney or something like that, like there'd just be a lot of girls with parts and cum in their mouth. You know what I mean? Anyways, Wes, because you were the last pick, you were also the first pick of round 2.
All right. I'll go with my fat category. And I
Ooh.
heard he is over 300 pounds now. Jack Nicholson.
Oh, that is an interesting pick because historically, Jack Nicholson has not been considered a fat
I
guy.
agree.
But what Wes has done is he's taken internet information and crammed it in this category. Now, does this have to be verified by someone on YouTube, like on Google?
We verified that it's 327 pounds.
That's fat
Yeah.
enough.
Jack Nicholson's 327.
Yeah.
Oh,
That qualifies.
57.
57.
Wow.
Jesus.
yeah, you are a fat bastard, Jack Nicholson, and
That's why he likes them courtside tickets.
Nice
eh?
pick, Wes.
that is a good pick for a fat guy, Jack Nicholson for Wes. Now back to Paul. Paul, number 2.
Sports guy, I'm going Walter Gretzky.
Walter Gretzky is old. He has had strokes in the past,
What a pick.
and he's beloved in Canada. Beloved.
There'll be a
I
parade
wa-
for that one.
I once sat behind him in the at Zares waiting for deli meat. Talked the girl's ear off in front of me. I enjoyed every minute of it. Walter Gretzky dead in 2017,
Wow,
according to
Paul.
Paul. Oh, 2018. Sorry,
That's a
Walter
sneaker.
Gretzky. Back to Bailey, our super fan.
I think I'm gonna do my sports. I'm gonna do Ric Flair.
Ooh,
damn it.
God
So-
damn it! That was on my list too.
So wrestling does count as a sport. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Pick.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if you want to pick like Gangrel to die, you can go fuck yourself. Like, a lot of wrestlers are gonna die this year. Most of them we don't give a shit about.
Right.
But
I don't know who it is.
yeah, you Brian Knobs from the Nasty Boy. Like, he's probably gonna die. He's not in the pool. He's not famous enough. But Ric Flair is the greatest of all time.
100%.
He's
in.
been on a rocky road for a while.
The nature
Yeah, he almost died this year
Yeah,
or
yeah.
last year.
No, like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So
pick.
Yeah, I call that last year, 2017. He would have been in that pool, and no one had him. No, we only had the Undertaker last year.
oh, that guy's never gonna die.
Oh, he'll die if he wrestles one more time. Jane Van Dyke. It is your pick.
I pick for my next one.
She's gonna have to drink. She's gonna...
Trainwreck, Gary Busey.
Oh.
Also a great pick,
Great
Gary
pick.
Busey.
Jesus.
Now, Gary Busey is obviously, he's been brain dead for some time. But the rest of his body could die in 2018, according to Jane Van Dyke.
Nice pick.
Which brings us to Steven, the reluctant German.
Yeah.
Who are you going to pick? Probably a
Going-
Jew.
I'm going sports.
Doing sports? I don't know.
Going
Wa-
sports.
No.
And I'm going with Willie Mays.
Oh, Steve with the
What?
sports pick.
Now, Steve,
Yeah.
are you positive Willie Mays is not dead?
I just Googled it.
And he's not dead?
He's not,
Not dead.
How old is he?
I don't know, but he's not dead.
He's damn old.
He's
Now-
old.
Yeah, and especially because, if I'm not mistaken, he's an African-American gentleman, is
Correct.
he not?
Yes.
And their lifespan is not as long as a white guy, right? Because of sickle cell.
Right.
And
Lou Gehrig's.
Racism.
76.
That's not
is like-
black.
There's like the average lifespan, 76.
for a black guy,
Yeah,
what's it for a white guy?
I don't know.
I think I know that it's not as long as it is for white guys. They die earlier.
He was born in 1931.
31 and he's not dead and he's black.
Yeah.
In the States too with no health care. But he's probably got health care because he's rich, right?
He was early.
Oh,
rich.
he was early. He was
got fucked
playing
over.
baseball early when they didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, he. That's a good pick.
That's a good pick.
Who's that? What's his name again? Willie Mays.
Willie Mays.
Mays Hayes. What were those?
That's from the Major League.
movies.
Yeah,
Major
yeah.
League movies.
Who's that?
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Dave Charters.
I'm
your
gonna
pick.
go with sports because Steve just stole. I had a couple picks written down, but he just stole my number one pick, so I don't want to get left in a lurch here. I'm gonna go with sports. John Madden.
Now this.
I knew you'd have him, Michael. I knew it.
No, this is a challenge. Who had him last year?
Me.
Do you want a challenge for him?
No.
You're letting John Madden go.
I got a few picks in sports.
All right, Dave, you got John Madden.
Oh, yeah.
Nice
Good
pick.
pick. Now, John Madden, he is a heart attack waiting to happen.
Boom. I'm dead. When you look at the X's and O's, I'm dead.
We'll just move 2 X's to my eyes.
Beaver, you're up, buddy. What do you want?
I'm going to keep going with the sports, and I'm going with my young buck of my bunch here, Charles Barkley.
Charles
Charles
Barkley.
Wow.
Charles Barkley. You are the Dave Charters of this year's pool.
That guy fucking sweats so much, man. He's got it dicey.
So we are. Charles Barkley is going to be dying. Also, probably some sort of a heart attack. Maybe you thinking?
I think it'll be like something rare.
Oh yeah.
Him, fuck. He was on someone else's list on the internet. I was checking out too.
Yeah, I know he would be because he.
fucking
Well, Charles Barkley's not. Doesn't look like he's like the most fit guy in the world.
He could go for fat, but yeah. I got another one for that one.
So that brings us. Oh, is it me again?
Yep.
Oh shit. Well, I'm gonna have. Yeah, I'm gonna have to drink. I'm gonna go with this year. So we got. Let's go with the. I'm gonna go with my old guy pick, my open pick, and I'm gonna go with President Jimmy Carter.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why. Brain cancer, and in his 90s.
Worked for you last
You
year.
shouldn't laugh.
We are terrible
We are
humans.
fucked.
We are all fucked.
I
Jimmy,
apologize for laughing.
President Jimmy Carter build a couple more houses and then drop dead, buddy. You were going to die in 2018. Which brings us to the last pick of round 2, Michael Bowe.
Okay, I've had enough people steal all my sweet picks from last year, so I'm going to retain one in the music category. Mr. Little Richard.
Ooh.
Little Richard, he made it through 2017 by the skin of his teeth. That
And
old
Duster.
queen is going to pass away in 2018.
Getting whiter by the minute.
Little Richard, dead, according to Michael Bowe. Now, who will be your next pick, the first pick of round 3, Michael?
Right back up. I think. What are the? Can I get a refresh on the category?
Oh.
We have music, we have sports, we have train wreck, fat guys, and open.
Okay, so I already took my open and I already took my music. So what I'm gonna do?
Can you classify an old pick if you think of a pick that's gonna? Can I say I want my old pick to be like now not fat guy but train wreck and then go to?
Right, because like
I don't think so. Not if you already made it.
If you already made it, you're locked.
Yeah. You're
Okay.
in.
Well, that's why I open it up to you guys.
God damn it really fucks my pool up here. All right, I'm gonna have to go with train wreck. God damn it, I'm not confident in this pick. But I'm gonna take it. I really need her to have a big 2018. Doing drugs, getting fucked up. Tara Reid, come on, baby.
Tara Reid. Tara Reid is in for a big year
Let's party.
of partying and probably choking on her own vomit. Tara Reid, 2018, Mike's pick. Now, this brings us back to Pete Van Dyke, which I am going to go with my third pick from the world of music. Oh, I hate doing this. But the world of music,
Don't say it.
I'm going to go Willie Nelson.
Oh.
Willie Nelson. Now, did you pick already, Steve?
I had Willie Nelson last year, but I'll let you have him.
You had Willie Nelson last year, and now I hate doing it because I love Willie. I wish I could pick a guy who is more decrepit than Willie Nelson. I feel I made a mistake by picking him this early because Willie's in good shape and he's having a good time. God damn it! I ruined my pick.
It's already written down.
Yeah.
Written in stone.
Please don't die, Willie Nelson. Let the other 4 people die. Brings us to Derek the Beaver Van Houten.
We're going to take Trainwreck, Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
Bad Batman movie. That'll do it.
Now Val Kilmer is also could be qualified as a fat guy.
He also is getting over tongue cancer, so
Tongue
there's
cancer.
potential.
Wow.
Did he get that from like Michael
HPV.
Douglas? What? Yeah.
HPV.
Licking puss, eh? That's how Michael Douglas got the throat cancer, eh? From licking Catherine Zeta-Jones' pussy. Her pussy was somehow infected with cancer, and then he just licked it up.
Spicy.
Yeah, that's how it worked. That was in the news and everything. Charters, you're up.
I'm gonna go with Trainwreck, Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid, good one. Randy Quaid. He is out of his mind. And he likes to hide in Canada, eh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great spot to hide.
Yeah,
Oh,
great
maple
spot.
syrup up there, right?
Randy Quaid as your train wreck for Dave. And Steve, you're up now, third pick.
All right, I'm going to go Trainwreck. I'm going to actually keep my Trainwreck from last year, which was Donald Trump.
Oh.
Donald Trump. Now, how do you think he's going? Is it going to be heart attack, assassination?
Yep, all of it.
And no one can argue Donald Trump qualifies for train wreck.
Oh God, yes.
That was last year's pick, too?
Yeah. He's probably on a lot of people's lists in the world.
Good pick. Hey, has anyone got Oprah for fat person? Because,
Our next or their next president.
yeah.
So, who's after Steve?
Jane.
Jane.
So I have to secure my musician because I'm running short. It's Brett Michaels from Poison.
Oh.
Ooh, Brett Michaels could also qualify as
Trainwreck.
train wreck. And we already know that Brett Michaels has herpes because if you were going to be on the Brett Michaels show where he was on the bus and he banged all those whores, they all had to have herpes to be on that show so that he could bang them. That's what I heard. Yeah, for reals. Anyways, Brett Michaels.
Quite the request.
You can't die from herpes, though, right? You can only be very embarrassed.
It's itchy.
That brings us to Bailey, our super fan. Bailey, you're up for number 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna secure my open spot. I'm gonna do Prince Philip because
Ooh, that is a really good pick.
I had him.
The Queen's husband
Sleeper pick.
is old as blazes, and
well,
he,
they
95.
just like took away his like actual job. Like he's like, I don't want to do anything anymore. So I figure.
that's how diabolical Bailey is when she's entering this contest. She knows this guy's lost his spirit because they took away his purpose, and she looks at it from that point of view that she's taken away the man's purpose. He's gonna die, of course. Plus, his wife's like a horrible nag, you know.
He's going to die of sadness.
Yeah, sadness and just being like an old. Yeah, he's gonna definitely die. I think that's a great pick, Bailey.
Thank you.
Prince Philip, dead in 2017, according to Bailey.
18.
2018. Sorry, I did it again.
Yeah.
Paul Van Dyke, your third pick.
Richard Simmons.
Oh.
What category is that
I
under?
would, I'd go
Train
fat.
wreck. No.
He used to be fat.
He'd love that.
Richard Simmons is not fat.
Well,
was fat.
Paul, you already have an open one, so I think you gotta go
He
for
wasn't.
Trainwreck.
He wasn't fat, but
He
I'll
was a
give.
train wreck.
I'll
Train
give.
wreck.
I'll
Isn't
give.
he missing right now?
There's a podcast about that, eh? Richard Simmons.
Is it true?
I don't know. Richard Simmons dead in 2018 under the train wreck category.
Train wreck, I guess, would be
Yeah.
fat.
I don't think you can call Richard Simmons fat. He's like.
He was, though, wasn't he?
No,
No,
he
he
never
wasn't
was.
fat,
I don't
no.
think he ever
Put on
was.
leg warmers, wasn't he
The
fat?
the unit
he?
the unitard makes him
Well,
look
like no,
Like in the
his
70s?
his story
on
was
20
that
pounds.
before he became the thing, he was fat or whatever. And it's like, yeah, okay, we were all kind of fat at one point in time, but
But he was super fat.
was he?
Yeah.
Okay, but he's not fat now.
Someone look up that picture.
Anyways, Richard Simmons is a train wreck and going to be dead according to Paul in 2018. Wes, Your number 4
All right.
or 3.
Music. It's gonna be Neil Young.
Oh. Ooh.
It is what it is.
that?
It is what it is. Well, at least we can play his music.
No one expected Tom Petty to die last year,
No.
Fuck
True.
no.
or Chris Cornell, or that Chester Bennington, right?
Especially not him.
Right? Everyone, but they all died, right? Who else died in music last year? Chuck Berry?
Prince?
No,
No,
Prince
it
was the year before.
2016.
No.
But anyways, a lot of people died, so why not make it Neil Young,
Um,
Canadian hero?
Hurts. That one hurts.
Join Willie Nelson. We'll die together at Farm Aid or something with John Cougar Mellencamp.
Nah.
And then Wes, you're up again for your number 4 pick.
All right. This guy has actually been on the show.
Oh, really?
For my sports, it's gonna be the Iron Sheik.
Oh my
Wow,
goodness!
nice.
Now this is our special guest. He has been probably the greatest guest ever on Live from the Dutch Hall, the Iron Sheik. He's one of our greatest guests. Doesn't like charters very much, but he does. He has been a guest in our program, and I'd love to have him on again.
Fuck yeah.
But we got to get him on soon.
I guess you better hurry
Because
up.
according to Wes, in 2018, the Iron Sheik will be passing away. By the way, according to the Logan Paul thing, I get my opinions on famous celebrities I'm not too aware of from the Iron Sheik. And the Iron Sheik went on Twitter and said about the Logan Paul, he said, I got it written down here. Let me just look what he said. I have it right here. It's written right down on one more page.
What is that, full scap?
It's full scab, yeah, yellow full scab. Oh, wait. He said, oh, it's all gone.
It's probably the paper.
Oh, here it is.
Lost in the wind.
He says, the Logan Paul, we are going to beat the fuck out of you. And that's him and the Woken Matt Hardy that said that. And then he said, the winner of the Jabroni of the Earth is the Logan Paul.
Wow, he
So
doesn't like him.
He was on the other side of the Logan Paul controversy, which is why I'm kind of like, I got to side with the Sheik. He's been wise to this point. Anyways, who are we at?
Paul. Yeah.
I hope the Iron Sheik
I'm
doesn't
gonna
die.
have to go with music. Axl Rose.
Oh.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Also going to fat.
Yes.
Axl Rose, yeah, he's shockingly different looking than you remember him when he was famous, eh? Axl Rose. Bailey, this is your second to last
Oh,
pick.
sugar. I'm gonna go with. I've had an open fat people. I think I'm gonna go with Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson, great pick. I'm sorry for Louis. You guys ever watch the show Baskets?
Yeah, I have.
It's pretty funny,
Where
man.
he's a girl?
Yeah, he's like the mother
the
of
mom.
Zach Galifianakis, and he doesn't do anything, doesn't change his voice, doesn't do anything, just wears women's clothes, and and he totally pulls it off to play the mother. It's unbelievable, and the whole time you believe him as the mother, like he's really good actually. Sorry, he's going to die,
Good actor.
but I like Louis Anderson, big queen from Minnesota. So Jane, you are picking your 4th pick.
For fat guy, I predict Michael Moore will die.
Ooh.
Now, I would love it if that was true. I find Michael Moore to be the worst in every way. Because his movies are so like they're not like balanced. You know, they're very one-sided. He proves his own point. He knows what he's going to prove before he goes in there, and then he proves it. Well, you already knew that before you went in,
Right.
Michael Moore. And you can't go into Canada and just walk in everyone's house because we're all unlocked. Maybe down here we are.
Don't tell him that.
So Michael Moore. Yeah, I don't tell anybody. Steven.
All right, this might be slightly controversial, but my fat guy pick is Subway's Jared Fogle,
Ooh.
He was fat.
and now he's in prison, and he's been beaten a lot.
Has he?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say that as far as fat guy pick goes, for Jared Fogle, I would classify him as fat.
Yeah, I agree.
Because even when he was the spokesperson for Subway at the end, he was fat.
Yeah.
He was still fat. They were trying to make you're not as fat as you were, but you're still fat. Like there's no way he's not
Absolutely.
fat. Jared Fogle,
Good
qualifies.
He's not eating Subway in prison. That's for sure.
Not doing well in prison.
He's eating the 12-inch, but it's not Subway.
Not anymore.
Charters, you have your fourth pick.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with. I did Trainwreck already. Okay, I'm gonna go with music on this one. It's a little obscure, but my music pick is Mel Brooks.
Okay.
You have to explain why he's music.
Mel Brooks. He's a composer and songwriter. He's written such great hits as "To Be or Not to Be." Some of you might know it as the Hitler Rap. Look it up. Mel Brooks writes a lot of music.
This is horse shit.
Mel Brooks is in the open category, I think, only.
Music. What are you talking about? Songwriter, composer. You saying the guy didn't write songs?
Yeah.
Huh?
He didn't write songs?
I don't know.
Sure he did.
Like, he's not
He's
known for
famous.
writing songs. He's known for being a comedian and an actor and a producer, but not a songwriter.
What about Billy Bob Thornton? Would he be a music category?
No.
No, he's an actor.
This song was written by Mel Brooks. That's a Mel Brooks hit right there.
All right, I'm going to leave it to
It's
the
on YouTube.
room. I'm going to leave the room to decide.
I think if Google says he's a
Oh, yeah, go on Wikipedia or something like that and look up Mel Brooks and see what it says for his titles. And if it says musician, you can get it. And if it doesn't say it, because it won't, then you don't get it.
What about songwriter?
Yeah, if it says...
Musician. I like that.
Mel Brooks, Wikipedia. Here it comes. Mel Brooks is an American actor, writer, producer, director, comedian, and composer.
There you go.
Oh.
Not musician.
Not musician. You're out.
Composer. Fuck off.
Yeah, but the
Composer.
point is composer is in the world of music.
Absolutely.
right.
So,
That's
okay,
horseshit.
Mel Brooks.
Oh, boo.
Mel Brooks.
Mel Brooks.
That
What,
is
It's a weak
fucking
pick anyway.
bullshit.
Fuck you, Dave.
number one, I know Mel Brooks personally.
Oh.
And Mel Brooks he's in the best shape I've ever seen him in his life. I have TV dinners with him and Carl Reiner every day, just in our living room.
Do you ever get him to do Dorf? Walk around
Oh,
on
that's
his
Tim
knees?
Conway.
Oh.
I get him to do the 200-year-old man
Oh.
or 2,000-year-old man or whatever it is.
Oh, no, when he played Yogurt, he was walking around on his knees.
Oh, Yogurt, yeah.
Yogurt.
Spaceballs was his movie.
Yeah, that's a Mel Brooks movie.
Oh yeah.
He wrote all the music for it.
Yeah, I believe it. So what you're doing is you're sandbagging for your old person to go last, right? That's why you picked Mel Brooks in that category.
Maybe.
Well, I'm looking at the list. Beaver, fourth pick.
I'm gonna go take Fat People and John Goodman.
Ooh, John Goodman.
I like his movies. He's a good
Oh, yeah.
movies in, but
10
I-
Cloverfield Lane. Good
he
one.
just he don't look like he's gonna make another 365.
He's on the new Roseanne.
He is.
Yeah, back in Roseanne.
And the old Roseanne, he died in the last episode. And now he's back. And not only is he back, but there's two Beckys. You know, there was one Becky before. Like there was two different actresses play the
Yeah.
one Becky. Now there's both Beckys. They're both those actresses are both in the family. They just reinvented it like it was all a fucking dream or something. You know, I think. And Norm Macdonald's writing on the show.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's gonna be good
Sweet.
on Netflix. Anyways, so John Goodman, sorry about your comeback because you're gonna be dead, according to Derek.
He is the Charters.
Which brings to me, and now I've got a fat guy, I've got an old guy, and I've got a music guy. So I need someone from the world of sports. And I'm gonna go someone in the world of sports, and I'm also gonna go with somebody who, you know, maybe just not really finding a place in this world. I'm gonna go with O.J. Simpson.
Oh, Orlando James.
I'm gonna go with the Juice. The Juice is not liking it on the outside. He's not liking his new world. He's going to find a way to ruin his life in 2018. Probably some sort of blood disease or something, maybe. O.J. Simpson.
Bad pick. He could still run the ball.
Which brings us to Michael Bow.
Yeah, I'm going to go with sports as well, Pete. And I'm going to go with a wild card. An old L.A. Dodgers manager, Tommy Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda.
Tommy Lasorda.
I can't believe he's not dead already.
No, still alive.
Good pick. Now, Michael, you have someone from the world of, you have the old people, the music, you have the train wreck, and you have the sports. What you're missing in all of this is your last pick, which is what category?
I don't know.
Fat.
Fat.
You need a.
Like this is my last pick.
This is your last pick.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask if this is fat enough. I'm not sure if he is. Mr. Don King.
Yeah.
I'd say yeah.
Fat enough?
Thank you. I'll take him then.
Don King.
Don King. And it was a sports/fat.
Yeah? All right, my last pick. I need to have someone. I got a fat guy. I got an old guy. I got a music and sports. I need a train wreck. You know, I'm going to go to an old classic. This is a woman that I think is a train wreck in every way. I can't see a scenario where she's going to live a long and happy life. I'm going to go with Lindsay Lohan.
Ooh.
Lindsay Lohan dying this year.
Oh, Lindsay. What's she up to?
No one knows.
She's doing lots of drugs, and she's eventually going to call it a day. Pete's going to cash in. Which brings us to the healthiest lineup so far. Derek Van Houten's lineup.
I'm going the opposite here. I'm gonna call the Pope on this one.
Go figure.
Which one?
This is open.
Are you going with the other living Pope, the one that the German that Steve loves so much, or are you going to go with the Mexican or whatever Pope that we got now?
I was hoping you wouldn't get detailed in it. Just take them all, but
If any Pope dies, you get him. You got to pick Benedict or Francis.
Benedict.
I'm gonna take Benedict.
Benedict, the German. He's 90. He is a terrible Pope.
He's the one
And
that fell asleep, wasn't it?
yeah, he was shit. He was like the one that had the gay assistant, and he wore the red shoes. That guy. And he was like his like a confidant, but really
Yeah,
they
but
just
all popes are gay, right?
I don't know all the ones that Dave knew.
They all touch,
Aw.
they all touch boys.
So we got the Pope, right? Pope Benedict. And now we go to Dave with your last pick. Now, Dave, you have fat guy, sports guy,
No. Oh, yeah.
train wreck, and music. So you need open category.
Open. And I got 2 picks here, and I was hoping somebody would pick one and make it easy for me because it's such a tough choice.
You want to give your choices up, and then it would open it up to the other
Nope.
people.
I'm going to go with, for my open pick, Mr. Dick Van Dyke.
Now, I got to tell you, you know, Jerry Van Dyke just passed away. Uncle Jerry. And Dick Van Dyke, he just wrote a book. And the guy's like in the best shape of his life. That pick will not come in. I'm going to tell you right now, I'll put a side bet on that one that Dick Van Dyke will not die. How about that?
Side bet.
Two
Well,
to-
I hope
2
he
to 1
lives.
odds.
I
2
hope
to
he
1
lives,
odds.
but
Okay.
Might as well have took Brett
he is
Burns.
100 years old.
No, he's not. He's in his 90s.
94.
Dick
Dick
Van Dyke
Van-
is 91.
He is 91 years
He's
old.
91.
Dick Van Dyke.
He's on my
Steve, your
list.
last pick, and you have a music, sports, train wreck, and fat guy. What you were missing is an open category. You have anyone to pick in the world.
That's right. I had a whole bunch of choices, and they are all gone. This is my last name that I can even say that I wrote down beforehand. I'm going with Stan Lee.
Stanley.
94.
So
I
sad.
hope you're wrong.
He's
hope
actually
you're
been
wrong,
charged with
too.
sexual harassment, too.
No. Has
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
That's a marvel.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
That will kill him, too.
Likely.
Now,
Jane.
you had last year in this category Betty White, did you not?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you let her go. You just gave up on her dying, eh?
She's in the ether.
She's too good.
Too good.
Okay, so Jane, your last pick.
She's gonna
You
die
have
next
right
year.
now. You have what's Stephen Hawking? If he's not, he's open.
He was open.
She has
Gary
a-
Busey's
has a-
Trainwreck, Shawn Michaels music, Michael Moore and Fat Guy. You are missing a sports guy.
Yeah, so I needed a lot of consultation, so I asked a lot of people. And my gosh, I have a lot of I don't know. I have a lot of sports I could pick from. So I pick controversial John Daly.
Oh.
Good one.
Fuck, I was hoping you said Madden
Good pick.
John Daly.
for the shot.
That John Daly, if he died, I would be real sad because that guy's one of my favorites of all
He's a
time.
boss.
He's the best. Bailey, your last pick. You have a music, sports.
I think I have
Old.
Trainwreck.
You need a train wreck, yeah.
Okay, I have a few here. I'm gonna weirdly go with Corey Feldman because he Had that
Oh.
whole controversy with the Corey Haim thing this year, and I don't know, maybe he might do himself in. So that's
There's always hoping.
yeah,
Corey
it's
Feldman.
so sad.
Realizing his horrible mistakes in life and ending it all. Corey Feldman.
2018.
Now, Paul Van Dyke, this is your last pick. You have an old guy, a sports guy, a fat guy, and a music guy.
No, I don't have a fat guy.
No,
I thought Richard Simmons was fat.
no, he has him under train wreck.
Oh, Trainwreck. Okay, so you're missing a fat guy.
My fat guy is gonna also be a wrestler. I'm going with the Big Show.
Ooh, Big Show.
The big bad show tonight.
No, the Big Show's actually in the best shape of his life at 385 pounds. But he is. We'll give it to you. We'll give it to you. Yeah. Wes, you're the last pick of the whole show. A lot of great people on the table here. A lot of people sick or dying or that. You have a train wreck. You have a fat guy. You have music and sports. What you were missing is just open. Anything you want.
All right. It's going to be Regis Philbin.
Regis.
Ooh, Regis.
Regis Feldman. Do you see anything happening with Reg? Like,
He's just old as fuck.
just old, eh? Just gonna die and make a. What's his wife's name? Joyce. Joyce gonna
Yes.
be upset.
Well, he talked about it enough on the show.
Yeah, Joyce. Well, that's our pick, everybody. Does anyone want to know what they have before we finish? You guys all know
I'm
what you
good.
got?
Yeah, I got mine.
Also, Lori Van Dyke, or Lori Ball, our one of our super fans, always likes to keep track of this for us, so we'll have it. And I've written it down, and Bailey's written it down, so there's no reason to lose this year. That's the pool, the Dutch Hall Death Pool. If you'd like to follow along, if you hear of any of our picks dying, let us know at livefromthedutchhall@gmail.com. But you can always give us feedback. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any of those things. Also, thank you to everyone that's watched on YouTube Live or Facebook. And if you'd like to, tell a friend, share our episodes, just try to like us or reach out to us any way you can. Other than that, we will see you NT. See you next Thursday. All right, everybody, we did it. Good job, everyone.
You just missed that first 20
Good thing I booked tomorrow off.